as if it was also real. Manslaughter sat in her chair, caressing hair that was tangled, dry and brittle. Her hair matched her soul. We called her manslaughter because she had killed a person in her sleep. It was futile, pathetic and ironic. She had taken sleeping pills to fall asleep, yet she ended up waking after about 4 hours, dressed, grabbed a set of keys, drove a car through a neighborhood, out onto a main thoroughfare and hit a homeless man. He was dead on impact. She slammed her face into the steering wheel, had to have her jaw shut for months, remained in custody at a mental facility and ended up in our little halfway house of affected misanthropes. Our very own suburban cell consisted of one of those charity houses where a person went that was too sane to be committed, yet too mentally disturbed to live on their own. Some of us had tried suicide, some of us were violent, some of us were substance abusers, and some of us just wanted to be here. We were all women in our 30s, all women with really nothing going for us, but we were not all lesbians. The lesbian girls were really quite fantastic, but we were not all lesbians. A few of us were actually not even sexual. There were 10 girls in all: Manslaughter, Doris, Dory, Magpie, Mary, June Smith College, Beth, Bethany, Frank, Francis Dorman Drumright, Nan, Pruitt and me. Gobsmack, go fuck yourself. These charity houses could not divulge private information, so we had to give ourselves a nickname that best suited us. Doris, Mary and Beth used their real names to be funny, and to be rebels. They didn't care about rules. They were lipstick lesbians, drug addicts and fashion conscious. They were really quite nice, unless you turned them down for sex, which I most certainly did because I did not want to have sexual relations. I wanted to be a human being with no feelings. I wanted to be detached from the other earthen dwellers. The house was on a normal suburban street, looked like all of the other houses and had 3 stories. We slept 2 to a room, shared 3 bathrooms, ate together, and had 1 entertainment room, a library and a place to make telephone calls. The telephone calls were very important to us. It is how we communicated to the world. We only went out once a month in public, mostly because we looked like train wrecks stitched back together by Avon and cardigan sweaters, and, besides, the lesbian girls were too tempted to ask people for pills and kisses. We could sit on the front porch and read, sunbathe in the backyard, tend to the flower garden, but most of us just stayed inside and tried very, very hard to go mental, and, besides, we had our phone calls. Some of the girls would hook up on Friday nights in the laundry room, or in Mary's room, which was designated as the kill zone. Petals of flowers and fragrances of donated Chanel perfume would dominate the groans from behind the closed door. I would listen at times, but I mostly stared out of my window into the dark of night, that is if I wasn't taking my phone calls. I found that if you stare at something long enough, you could trick your brain into believing just about anything. I once stared at the wall for so long, I saw blood gowns hung as drapes in the Versailles while innocent torsos slid up and down the catwalk of a fashion show with no attendees. The chairs and lights were anemic, but the music was like a dirge and the people that were not there clapped with their lips. Nan told me to get the phone. It had been ringing for me. She knew this because each girl had a different ringtone and mine happened to be 4 rings followed by 2 rings followed by 4 rings. I picked up the receiver and heard the breathing, deep and low, sequestered to impulse alone, and most likely alcohol. Charity house, I said. The breathing quickened, but no words. I mean, that was the idea. The other end of the phone line never spoke. Take out your razor blade, I continued. Now gently cut the line, no more than a half an inch deep. Apply lots of pressure and cut until you feel pleasure. The panting on the other line confirmed that my instruction was done implicitly, which made the experience a positive one because I would get good marks on my next review. Now the peroxide, clean and bandage and enjoy watching the scar heal. I hung up and went back towards my room. Nan asked me how it went. "Quick," I said, "it always goes too fast." I plunged myself into the abyss of a noir dime store novel where the girl has telepathy and can see ghosts right before they enter the souls of men that are rapists. Once the ghosts enter the souls, they no longer want to rape girls, they want to become eunuchs and join the Buddhist monastery at the edge of town. I waited for my next phone call and tried to make a mental note of what laundry I had to do the next day. I never had sex before, but the one time I tried to kiss the sterility of another human mouth I could only turn in disgust. I heard the phone ring. It wasn't for me, it was the special ring. It was for manslaughter.